NANI?
Well, glad I checked. Shit.
If you...
Let me. Oh. I'll just pretend this was a million.
No, that's funny. Yo, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? Good to see you again. And I had to include that little bit at the very beginning. My man Cody here accidentally left one of his Basil Hawkins sitting in his Dawn pile. So it was just really funny. Had to do an extra shuffle for that. But yeah, we get it started, and I am playing the black-yellow Luffy here, and he's playing the Bonney. And let me tell you, this is a pretty bad matchup for black-yellow Luffy. It is winnable, but it is pretty bad. It kind of boils down to, you know, if they're able to see that 9-cost Zoro, then it gets very, very scary. There are obviously some other cards that make the matchup a little more difficult as well, but that 9-cost Zoro in particular is practically like my least favorite card to be seeing. And now I am taking a look at this. I was considering picking up the 2-cost Sabo, but I do end up going with the Ace. I know that I'm going to need to be a little aggressive in this matchup. It's going to be kind of tough to get his life down as quickly as possible so that Hody Jones doesn't become like a massive factor for value, as well as, you know, a threat against my blockers in the later stages of the game. But he is going to use the Bonney. Go ahead and search out, I believe it was the Arouge, and then passing it back over, I go up to 4 Dawn here. I've got a Bonney on the board that I definitely don't want to be on the board for the rest of the game, so I'm just going to go ahead and swing 5 into it. But he does have one of those active Dawn to rest my Garp. Not a big deal, obviously, just because, you know, I don't really care if a Garp dies. Honestly, if a Garp does get KO'd, it's normally good for me because putting it in trash sometimes is very useful for a Moria play. I do see my 5-cost Luffy, both of them actually, and I was kind of thinking about which one is going to be more important for me here, and I decided to go with the removal just because I know that I need to have at least one for dealing with some of those higher end cards once I draw into Ice Age. But I'm going to go for a little bit of a play. I'm going to use Ivankov here. And we had a bit of a misunderstanding because I misread the card. I know that it trashes a bottom or top of my life, and then I put a card back to the top of my life. I didn't realize that I had to reveal the card. I actually thought that it was just put face down, and then I realized, oh, I have to reveal which card it is, and then I just get to put it face down. So, bit of a mistake on my part, but I'm not super used to playing Ivankov. I think in OP07, this is just kind of like, you know, some new idea that is really working out well for the list, but it is a card that I should probably have practiced a little bit more before coming in here and looking like a jabroni, making a mistake like that. But Cavendish here is going to restand a few of the Dawn, and then we might see like just a pass or maybe even just a 6k into the Garp, and that's what it's going to be. And now with 1 Dawn active, my Ivankov is more than likely going to get rested here, but I do have plays. I'm going up to 6 Dawn. I do have, you know, potentially an opportunity to play out the Luffy if I wanted to, but Luffy's not going to get like immediate value because of the Cavendish. I'm just not going to be able to KO a 5-cost. I can only KO a 4. And that's where I kind of run into the dilemma with this deck of, should I be running the 4-cost Kuzan over the 4-cost Kuzan over the Ice Age, or is Ice Age the play because it's just effective pretty much immediately? And I don't know. That's where I do kind of find my dilemma sometimes with this list. But I'll go ahead and play down Sabo here, just thinking of what cards I want to put into trash. I know that I personally would love to have Ace you know, for some aggression, and that's why I'm thinking pretty carefully about like what are my choices, what I'm going to need for future turns. But I decide to go ahead and get rid of the 2 5-cost Luffys. It kind of sucks to do that, but I know that if he has pressured my life already once, it might happen yet again. I know that I have my next life set up for, you know, some sort of play if he does play down the Arouge. So if that 4 cost comes down, I feel a little bit better about it. But Bonney is just going to freeze up, I believe, one of my Dawn this turn. So I put one of my Dawn to the side, which to me isn't really that big of a deal. I have 8 Dawn the following turn, and not really any like fantastic Moria plays, so I'm not like super concerned about it. I guess if I did have a Moria, now having the Ivankov in trash, it would have been pretty solid to get a Moria and Garp play, but he's just going to throw down the Arouge now, and I believe just past turn activating one of the Dawn. Yeah, so lucky for us though, we do end up getting the Ice Age. Ice Age is a super, super important card in dealing with a lot of the top end of Bonney, such as like 8-cost Kid, that 9-cost Luffy, or excuse me, 9-cost Zoro, that is ever so threatening. But I love, we have 7 Dawn, this works out absolutely perfect. I just have enough to use my Luffy effect here, which is going to bring out the Luffy right now, bringing leader up to 7, and now I can trash this, KOing a Rouge, drawing a card, and this gives me a really nice 7k swing with leader into Cavendish that if he counters out, I can just play out the ace that I did save from the previous turn. So I'll go ahead and swing 7. He is going to give me a 0-cost event, which tells me more than likely he doesn't have enough to save this Cavendish, but he really wants to keep it on the board. So I'm just going to go another 7 with the ace into it. I mean, that's a lot of information that I just got right there. I'm a 7k leader. It seems as though he has quite a lot of non-counter cards in hand. So probably a lot of top end, maybe like Zoro, Kid, Doflamingo, why am I forgetting the Hody Jones? Yeah, so there's a lot of potential possibilities here. But with him being at 9 Dawn, this would be the perfect time to get that card down on curve, but he's just going to swing 6 into my Sabo. I'm debating whether I want to keep it alive or not, because I know that I probably do need some counter, but I also kind of need this blocker just in case he does have some big cards. But I decide to let it go, just going into trash very quickly, and he plays down my arch nemesis, the 9-cost Zoro. Now, if it weren't meant to be, we got super lucky with the top deck right here. We end up picking up a, what was it? A 5-cost KO Luffy. We did have the Garp to potentially find it, but I still think that was very, very fortunate for us right here, picking this up. So I had the Ice Age previously. Now I have that as well. I'm just thinking about what Dawn, you know, allocation do I need to be doing to guarantee some removal off the board. And I'm going to go ahead and go for Bonney here. I think that this was incorrect going for Bonney. I think I should have just been going for life at this point to try and put him in a KO position. Yeah, so I'm not entirely emphatic about this play, but yeah, the 8k at the Bonney just seems pretty free for him to just let go. I am going to pick up the Luffy here now, though, and I can also get Luffy down first just to see what I draw into. He doesn't have any Dawn to rest anything because of, you know, playing the 9-cost Zoro outright, so that's pretty solid for us, all things considered. But it looks as though we're just going to go 7 into life, and he is going to take that, but I think that we probably could have got him to 2 life this turn, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm going to go ahead and Ice Age and then Luffy, and so Luffy's going to KO the Zoro. I do get to draw a card, which is really nice, picking up another 2k, but I would have been fine with him having Bonney here. Yeah, because let's say he does throw down like another 9-cost Zoro. Yeah, Bonney really can't do much. And would you look at that? Another 9-cost Zoro, which is pretty terrifying. I know that I don't have everything in hand to be able to remove it again this time. I do have what look. I actually no, excuse me. I thought I had an Ivankov in hand, but no. It looks as though we just have strictly the Sabo to try and defend ourselves the following turn. I could put something into my life using the Hiyori, but I don't think that's the correct play. I mean, it's kind of tough because I just know that if he Hody Joneses me the next turn, I'm like more than likely dead, because I have to somehow survive 3 Zoro swings, a leader swing, a Hody Jones swing. It's just looking really rough. Yeah, so I find myself in a pretty tough position right now. I don't have any way to remove the Zoro. I don't have any way to defend through multiple Hody Jones swings, so arguably, like, picking, getting that, what was it? Getting that, Sabo that I unfortunately let go from the field might actually be fairly relevant now. So I'm actually just going to be swinging 5. I'm trying to go to life as much as possible because it looks as though I'm just going to be playing out the Sabo. I'm just going to be hard playing out the Sabo. Oh, I'm not. Oh, okay, so we're going to be actually doing a Hiyori. Yeah, Hiyori into a 2-cost Sabo. I don't hate this, but at the same time, I don't love it because I think we end up losing more counter. Yeah, we end up losing more counter from this play than we gain in life. So I get the Sabo, which allows me to get the defense, play the Sabo out. I go up to 7. Now I draw 2 cards, and unfortunately I draw 2 counterless cards as well. So that means that I'm down 1k, at least 1k in hand, because, you know, the Hiyori is sort of, you know, it's kind of mull if you think about it, because I went up to a 7k leader. But I also lost my Sabo in hand and my 2-cost Sabo Kid. And that's I think that becomes very relevant when I have to stare down a Zoro play here at the very end of the match. And I'm also putting myself to 1 life. Yeah. But I do end up trashing a few counter cards, and I play a little greedy and keep the 8-cost Moria in hand because I want to potentially survive this turn, put him on having Hody Jones, and then try and survive, go for game the following turn with a potentially a Moria play or just some sort of, you know, get ace into you know, life, and then be able to rush it out with the kid that I do have in hand. But thinking out some of the numbers, he's got multiple swings. Obviously, we are terrified. We are absolutely terrified. Dealing with this is not going to be easy. I know that this is kind of a do or die turn, though. I think the only way you can maybe defend through this as Bonney is like maybe like an 8-cost kid, maybe, because otherwise, like, I'm just going to be able to end the game the following turn. So yeah, he's definitely just thinking through the numbers, you know, what swings will connect, what numbers work perfectly. And we're going to see 7 for the Hody Jones. It is going to rest the Sabo. Unfortunately, we're going to see a 9k swing coming to life. He does get the immediate restand with Zoro. I have to think about this 9k swing. I have a 2k and a 1k to get out of it, and I do end up using that. But now we're stuck with 2 1Ks. I could have potentially had another 1K in hand right here. But I pick up the last card from hand, which was the Luffy. And I think that, you know, just having done what we did previously, I think just having the 2 life taken and then potentially being able to counter out of, you know, the Hody Jones. No, I don't even think we could have countered out of that. I think we were just cooked. It was a pretty solid match, though. I think that Bonney obviously is a pretty bad matchup for Black Yellow Luffy, but I thought this was pretty interesting. But I hope you guys enjoyed the match, and yeah, let me know your thoughts. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.